Stream is up in five, four, three, two, one. And welcome to the COVID-19 Diary on this, the 31st day of March 2020. I want to thank everybody for joining, whether you're watching live or in post. The number to contact the show is 234 650 4920, or you can email us at o'mallysadventure@yahoo.com. This episode is brought to you in part by the Tremont Coffee Company. For all of your hot and cold brewing needs, check out the Tremont Coffee Company at 215 North Erie, Massillon, Ohio, Tigertown, USA. My guest today is Lee Brunkhart, and we are going to talk COVID-19 with a few other topics. Lee, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. You?
Good. Um, First, I'm gonna run through the numbers real quick. Worldwide, the United States has 187,321 cases, 709 deaths today, for a total of 3,850. Italy is sort of pushing the way as far as how bad it could potentially be. They have 837 deaths with a total of 12,428. For the state of Ohio, we have 2,199 confirmed cases, 55 as far as deaths. We're split basically 50-50 as far as the cases go, and 585 hospitalizations. So that is the numbers as of today for COVID-19, and we got a couple things to sort of unpackage. First, Europe is sort of in a really tough way. Spain is sort of, you hate to use the word chasing, but they're kind of chasing Italy. Um, they have 95,000 cases with 8,400 deaths, with 7,900 new cases today. So, um, for the number nerds out there, the population of Spain is 46 million, the population of Italy is 60 million, and the population of France is 65 million. So their population total doesn't equal ours, but they are far outpacing us as far as the number of cases and the number of deaths. Wow, I can take a breath now. But that's sort of where we're at with the COVID-19. I think um, the United States is sort of, especially on the East Coast, is starting to press up that hard upswing. Um, I know myself personally, I'm off work right now, for now until Monday, but just a crystal ball guess. I have a feeling I'm going to get a call before Monday that's going to tell us not to come in. Just a hunch. So, how
What
about
was the reasoning behind that?
um I'm not sure, because it wasn't a layoff. We didn't get a layoff notice. We got telephone calls saying that uh, we weren't supposed to come in, and that we could use sick time or whatever time, because we were halfway through a pay period to use to take up that last week. Myself personally, I opted not to take any time. I don't think that it's right to be sent home and told you have to pay yourself. You know, especially when, if you look at the guidelines for the state of Ohio and through Homeland Security, where road crews, as far as infrastructure go, um, are necessities. That's just that's my opinion on it. I'm also married to somebody that works in healthcare. So let's say I take this time off. I go back to work for a week. She's exposed and has to be quarantined. So do I.
Correct.
So then I would have to use 2 more weeks. Instantly, you start clipping through your time quickly. So that's I don't know. I think the
Now, did any other department have to do that?
um as far as I know, most of the departments are the wastewater treatment plant. Obviously, toilets have to flush. So,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken, they were asked to take voluntary time off. And I believe they have it like a skeleton crew downtown. I think they've got like department heads and stuff meeting a few times a week. But other than
Is
that,
it just for employee safety
don't know.
so that it limits your risk?
I you know it I'm not sure because the couple times I talked to my boss, it was more on the lines of how do I want to get paid. I'm pretty sure it had to do with the 2 week um, where you're supposed to stay at home, but if in a position where you work and you're supposed to be essential, you would think, especially now would be a really good time to be out there. They're still making hot mix where we get it. The other people that
Right.
we would get mixed there with have asked us where we've been. So I don't know, and we haven't seen anything in writing either, which is odd.
Hey, you would think since the traffic is grossly reduced at this time, that the city would have you guys out fixing the potholes. Now, I know you got to dance in between the raindrops,
Right.
um, but that's just there's one thing. It's um, I know I think in as a citizen of Massillon and being raised here all our life, we're kind of all in like our little pods: the Northeast, the Northwest, the Southeast, the Southwest.
Right.
And I will tell you, until you walk this city,
Right.
you never quite realize the little metropolis. I think it's something like 18 square miles.
Yeah.
And Massillon is much bigger than you think.
Oh yeah.
We just drive through it in 10 minutes, but
Mm-hmm.
but when you're out there huffing it, it's just unbelievably large. And to
Right.
think that what's on your staff, 10 people,
Yes.
so what the most you have is two crews at any time.
Well, we have sweeper operators now, so two of us would be in sweepers, and if you had two people on a patch crew, you could send out heck 2 or 3 crews patching.
Okay.
Um, it's the work is still there. That's sort of
Well, yeah, the roads never go away.
right, and that's you know, and with the sweepers, usually in the spring when it's heavy, they would send a truck out with us. So that's 3 people. That way you're not constantly running back to the shop at 18 miles an hour.
Right.
So,
Plus, you got to have the guy in the dump truck.
right, that's
So what he goes to one sweeper and then dumps and then goes to the other sweeper and
right.
dumps.
Well, like when it's real heavy like this, let's say myself and Jay went out into Colonial Hills. We would like I would be on Tanglewood and he would be on Stoner, and you would when you get full, you call the guy in the truck, you dump you dump into him, and when it's in the springtime and it's this heavy, it only takes about 20 minutes to get full. So then he would go to the other sweeper, that sweeper would dump into him, and then he would just run it back to the shop and dump. And then by the time he gets back out there, we're full again. So
That's amazing.
I don't know. I think
I
I
just want to
think
get some clarification because there's been a lot of chit chat on Facebook about that.
right,
And the one thing about when you and I do a show, we try to bring facts
right,
um, to those rumors that are kind of out there. And there's been, everything from you guys got laid off to the city's finances are in trouble, just
right. I don't. You know
a
what?
hodgepodge of things that have been out there.
And it's odd because we haven't actually seen any. I would like to be able to answer that question, but I don't have anything in writing. I got a phone call last Sunday saying, uh, "Come back the 6th." So I
Well,
try. I
just
get
so everybody does know, I did get an email, which I don't have my email up here.
okay.
The city's council meeting for Monday night
Yeah.
was moved to this coming Wednesday night.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Um, and Hold on one second. I need one more tab. It's like I got to kind of bring you down here so I can get one more tab. Um, and I'm actually going to have to. I'm hoping I don't lose you when I do this.
Okay.
But my email is on a two-step verification. So hold on a second.
Okay.
Hopefully I don't lose you. Are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Let's see if I can get you back up there. Okay.
Perfect.
Let me see what the latest thing was here. Diane said originally this was sent out on Monday. Diane is the clerk of the council, Diane Rowland.
Yeah.
Please be advised that the committee meeting of the whole has been scheduled for Wednesday, April 1st at 6:30 p.m. via their teleconferencing. Due to the COVID-19 situation, council would like to have discussion regarding what is going on in the city and would like to receive an update from the administration.
Yeah.
The public is welcome to call in on the conference line, and I'll say this number twice if anybody's wants to grab a piece of paper and a pencil. The number is 330-278-8168. So again, that's 330-278-8168. And she did call out Steve here. He's the journalist for the Independent, that they have it published. I did see it in the paper today.
Okay.
Now, what was interesting, I have been receiving communication from council. I get their agendas. I get, how like how they voted and all that.
Yeah.
What happened at the meeting. Anytime there's little correspondences or anything like that. And Linda Littman responded. She just said, thank you, and that she would be in attendance. However, the mayor responded. And I found this very interesting because I cannot ever recall her replying to any of these notifications, okay?
Okay.
And all it said, it went out to everybody, it was a reply to all. And she says, hello all. Please provide an agenda and questions. We will be happy to address council. Thank you, Kathy. And that went out also on March 30th. And Scott Graber is part of the Reply All. He's one of the members.
Okay.
And I should throw this out there. Anybody in the city can become a member of this email group, okay?
Okay.
Just call down to council, talk to Diane, and she will add you. You can, these are all public information, okay?
Okay.
He did ask publicly if there would be an opportunity for members of the public to be heard. That was posted just 12 hours ago, and there's been no reply to that. I will have to say there is typically no replies to these. People just make statements. So I just wanted to throw that information that was out there. So that meeting is actually going to be handled Wednesday, and my understanding is, I could be wrong on this, but my understanding is they're going to do the work session first and then do the council meeting.
Okay.
Because I think the last work session was canceled. So my understanding is they're going to do one, close it out, start the other one. I can't give you any more on it because I have never done a teleconference with the city. So I don't know how it works.
Okay.
Um, I don't know if you call in, if you can only listen,
Right.
or if you how they let you talk, or how you let them know you want to talk.
The first one that they did, I streamed it. Um, I could have spoke, but I chose to just stream it. Um,
Okay.
I know at first they had a little bit of trouble because some people were using speakerphone, and when you do that, you get some really goofy reverb. But other than that, it works pretty well.
Okay.
So
How can you let them know that you want to say something? Like, do you press a button or?
what they'll ask if anybody wants to speak, and then
Okay.
it's sort of a first come first serve.
I mean, you
Uh,
just start talking.
yep.
Okay.
So
Interesting. Okay.
so which part do
In
we?
reference to the coronavirus, that's
Okay.
kind of why we're doing this tonight. We're just
Right.
kind of
Right.
off subject. Um, we're already what 17 minutes into this.
Sure.
Time just flies.
Yeah.
And I found this on ClarkHoward.com, and I like Clark because he kind of breaks all this information down into very simple verbiage. It's very simple to understand.
Okay.
And what this has to do with, and people got to understand, there's like three different stimulus packages out there.
Right.
So this comes out of what's called CARES, CARES Act, and that stands for the Coronavirus Aid and Economic Security Act.
Right.
This was the $2.2 trillion infusion.
Okay.
And it says that inside the legislation are two important financial relief actions for anyone who is without a job or unable to work as a result of this national emergency. The first, which applies to the employed and unemployed alike, is a one-time stimulus paycheck of the $1,200 for per adult and $500 per child up to the age of 16, or that is not claimable as a dependent. So the one thing that I've been reading about this, because like in my line of business, I have a lot of adults who are disabled children.
Okay.
They live with their parents, their 20s, 30s. They work, 2, 3, 4 days a week. And they file taxes, but they have to mark on their tax that they're claimable, as a dependent. And
Okay.
then their parents claim them as a dependent because you get more back that way. So they will not be receiving a check under this.
Okay.
Or like my lovely daughter who just turned 17 will not, we will not be getting the extra $500 for her. So I just wanted to kind of clarify that up. I did have a thing from the AARP posted on my site already, my personal Facebook page. They were only going to give people who didn't work, like Social Security people, half of that at $600.
Okay.
But the AARP, I guess, went in there and lobbied. And now, if you are on Social Security, whether they use a tax filing from you or just your Social Security information, according to what I'm reading, you should be getting the $1,200 check also.
Okay.
Okay. Um, but I have had people contact me about, being an independent contractor or if you're self-employed. So this is what he says. He said, to qualify for the state unemployment, you are typically required to have been laid off due to no fault of your own. This generally excludes workers who quit or are fired. Second, the pandemic unemployment assistance program, which is a program of the CARES Act. So we not only have all these different acts, you have the programs inside of them, okay?
Okay.
They temporarily grant eligibility for these unemployment benefits to some of the following. And he lists self employed individuals, independent contractors, gig economy workers. So if you're an Uber driver, if you do DoorDash, those types of things, gig economy. Some part-time employees, some furloughed employees, and new employees who were subsequently let go, which I'll come back and touch on that because I have a personal experience with that. It says these workers who would not qualify for unemployment in normal circumstances must be able to prove they are unable to work as a direct result of the coronavirus emergency in order to be eligible. So, I happen to have a family member who
Okay.
just switched jobs. And I don't think they've even been on the job 3 weeks yet.
Okay.
Got laid off because what this person does is not considered an essential business. Okay.
Okay.
So, um, my relative was given what's called a mass layoff number, which I'm going to say this number out there. Okay. And it
O-
has a lot of zeros in it.
Okay.
So if they want to get their paper and pencil ready here, anybody can put this number in. It's a universal. It's called a COVID mass unemployment number.
Okay.
Um, it is 2000180.
Okay. Can you
So
repeat?
basically 2,180.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. And when you get to the unemployment section where it says, did your employer give you a mass layoff number? If you put this number in, the whole thing about who do you work for and what's their tax ID number and all that kind of stuff that you're supposed to have when you file for unemployment, it jumps right over all that. And it just goes to the questions of, you know, um, were you eligible to work? Were you physically and mentally able to work? And, those weekly checkoff questions.
Okay.
Did you work? Did you receive any pay? Did you receive any holiday pay? And of course, you're going to, mark, yes, I was available. Yes, I'm mentally and physically able. And then all the rest of them are no. And then it does ask if you worked anywhere else, because some people have multiple jobs. When you check no, there will be a little box that pops up that lets you know that the state of Ohio has multiple ways to check to see if you are working anywhere. And they remind you that, falsifying a legal document is fraud.
Okay.
But if you're, like my relative is totally unemployed, so we check no, and it just went right through lickety split. I mean, the only thing that was a little troubling was so many people were trying to get on
Okay.
that I found it was easier to do like 10 o'clock at night.
Wow.
This is going to be interesting going forward because you're supposed to do it every Sunday. You have to
Oh.
file for this unemployment.
Okay.
It's a weekly thing,
Okay.
and then you just answer the same questions again.
Right.
But you're going to have millions of people trying to jump on there, and it is very important that you get it done on Sunday because from what I was reading, if you do it after Sunday, it jumps to the next week.
Right.
Not that you're going to lose it, but there could be a gap in there.
Right. Okay.
And then the other thing that they had to do, which was over this past weekend when the federal mandate came through, where they're going to add $600 per week on top
Right.
of your 55%. And that's another thing. I keep hearing this number about that you're going to get 66% of your income. That is not unemployment.
Right.
That's part of the federal thing. Your unemployment in the state of Ohio is 55%.
Okay.
So if you take whatever you make per hour, multiply that by 40, because unemployment's done week by week, and then multiply that by 0.55,
Right.
That's how much you will receive from unemployment, and that's before if you opt to take out federal taxes,
Okay.
which would be 10% less than what you see on there. Um, then what you do is go ahead and add $600 to that, and that would be what you're going to receive every week for 8 weeks. That was approved for 8 weeks.
Okay.
But that did begin on March 13th. That's another kind of a catch to it. Ohio's like catching up because they actually had to pass a bill to say that, I guess my understanding is Ohio's going to pay it and then they're going to get reimbursed
Okay.
from the feds, but they
Right.
had to pass the law. Well, that just got passed last Friday. They spent the weekend updating the system.
Okay.
So, that's where that's on. But what I wanted to pull off this page was if you are self-employed, independent, you're doing the gig economy out there. If you started a new job, um, even if you're a part-time employee, go to the unemployment. Just go to ohio.gov and then go to across the top, go to jobs, and then you'll see where the unemployment is and just work your way down through there. At least fill it out.
Right.
What's the worst they're going to tell you? No.
Right.
But I think you're going to be surprised. I think it just seems like when I put that number in there, that uh, COVID mass unemployment number, it just like basically jumped right to the end. Like, okay, we'll get your check ready.
Wow.
I mean, that's exactly how I felt. Um, it went very quickly. And I think as long as, when they check your social security number, you don't have any money coming in, I think they're going to start rolling those checks out.
Huh.
So I did want to bring that up. Okay, then getting back to the 66%.
Okay.
This has to do with um, the rules that are coming out of the wage and hourly division of the Department of Labor. Okay.
Okay.
Um, I'm just going to read through. It's like a flyer, so I'm going to read through it. The Families First. So here's another act. This is the FFCRA Act. Okay.
Okay.
The Families First Coronavirus Response Act. Again, that's Families First Coronavirus Response Act.
Okay.
It requires certain employers to provide their employees with paid sick leave and expanded family and medical leave for specified reasons related to COVID-19. These provisions will apply from April 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020.
Right.
So the first subsection is paid leave entitlements. Generally, employers covered under the Act must provide employees with, it says, up to 2 weeks, 80 hours, or a part-time employee's 2-week equivalent
Right.
of paid sick leave based on the higher of their regular rate pay or the applicable state and federal minimum wage, paid at A, 100% of qualifying reasons, 1 through 3 below,
Right.
which would be up to $511 a day or $5,110 total.
Right.
Now, that 1 through 3 below, we'll talk about that in a
That
second.
that that's what I was telling you about right before we went on. That you're reading exactly what I was looking for
Okay.
about the 2 weeks.
Um, B, now this is where you get the 2/3. 2/3 would be 66%.
Right.
So 2/3 for qualifying reasons, 4 and 6 below, up to $200 daily and $2,000 total. And C is up to 12 weeks of paid sick leave and expanded family and medical leave paid at 2/3 for qualifying reasons, 5 below, for up to $200 daily and $12,000 total. A part time employee is eligible for leave for the number of hours that the employee is normally scheduled to work over that period. Okay, so if we go back to A says 100% for qualifying reasons 1 through 3 below.
Right.
So the qualifying reason number 1 is subject to federal, state, or local quarantine or isolation order related to COVID-19. 2 is has been advised by a healthcare provider to self quarantine related to COVID-19. And 3 is experiencing COVID symptoms and is seeking a medical diagnosis. So if you're under one of those 3 things, you get 100% of your 80 hours up to $511 a day.
Right.
Which, if they're giving up to $511 a day, I'm in the wrong job.
What? Right. Right. I was gonna say it's a pretty healthy tag.
That's not public employees' wages. I will assure you that.
Right.
Um, so then B is 2/3 for qualifying reasons 4 and 6 below. So this is up to $200 daily for a total of $2,000. So number 4 reason is if you're caring for an individual subject to an order described in 1, so that'd be somebody with COVID, that's what was described, or you're self quarantined as described in 2, which means you've been put in quarantine by a healthcare provider. And then the other one was option 6, which is experiencing any other substantially similar conditions specified by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. So, like, we had a driver who got a fever. So they immediately took the driver off, sent him to work health and safety, is what I was told. They ran the tests, and then he has to wait, right?
Right.
We don't know what he has. So he's going into the court. So he probably fell under this for 2 days while he waited for the test results to come back. And ended up, what I was told was he just has the flu.
Okay.
I'm not going to say where I work over the air, but I think everybody knows where I work.
Right.
And I am proud to say we're 3 weeks into this. We have 150 members on the front lines working every single day for Stark County. And as of today, thank the good Lord, but we have absolutely 0 related COVID-19 cases.
Right.
We are cleaning like I have never seen anybody clean before. And we ran out of things like Lysol wipes and stuff like that. And I mean, instantaneously, we now got bottles of just water and bleach.
Right.
Because actually, that's the best stuff you can have.
Right.
If you read anything about what kills this stuff, it's bleach. I have never sprayed so much bleach than I have in the last 3 weeks. We are cleaning. It's just nonstop every day. It's an old. We used to have this adage when I worked at McDonald's when I was 16.
Yeah.
And it was, if you got time to lean, you got time to clean.
Right.
And it has never been more true than in this last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Anyways, to finish this up here, so eligible employees is another subsection. It says, in general, employees of private sector employers with fewer than 500 employees and certain public sector employers are eligible for up to 2 weeks of fully or partially paid sick leave with COVID-19 for certain related reasons. Employees who have been employed for at least 30 days prior to their leave request may be eligible for up to an additional 10 weeks of partially paid expanded family and medical leave for reasons of number 5 below. And number 5 is caring for his or her child whose school or place of care is closed. And I have to give my employer a lot of credit. As soon as, it started coming out. People had cases locally. Um, what we were running into, a personal story that I'm aware of. Um, Young couple, got a kid or two. Okay, they both work. Grandma's doing the babysitting. Okay,
Okay.
dad comes into work in the afternoon, so grandma works in the morning, and then so he drops the kid off in the afternoon, and then comes to work. Right. Well, grandma works at a grocery store.
Oh.
So if you are listed as an essential
Right.
employer, excuse me, you have to meet all these qualifications, and one of them is cleaning. People don't understand why the grocery stores are closing at like 7 o'clock. They
Right.
have to meet a mandate. They have to get so much of this stuff cleaned.
Right.
So they need nighttime hours. So what they did was, this couldn't have come at a better time for him. I mean, this had God's hand all over it for him. They moved grandma to nights. They needed more hands to do all the required cleaning.
Huh.
So my employer stepped in, and actually, we already knew that this was in and going to be passed, and but they were actually offering this before it even became a law
Huh.
legally. And I mean, they were just right there to meet that need, and they told everybody, you got any kind of issue, maybe we can get you on a different shift, do something different, give you time off. I mean, I've just never, in the 21 years that I have been there, um, usually it's us, it's the union going, you know, we're knocking on the door going, hey, we got this issue.
Right.
Is there something we can do, work around it or whatever? We didn't even have to do that. They were there on the front line. Just,
Hmm.
how can we help you?
So I'm wondering if with us being off we would qualify for that.
Well, what I was really surprised, and I didn't want to get into it, and I don't want to get into it.
Okay.
Maybe you and I can talk privately sometime, but I was kind of interested in how the union responded to that.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's we can talk about that off the
Right.
yeah.
And the only thing I'll give a little snippet for everybody who's like, what are you all going to talk about now?
Right.
And that is, let's take vacations, okay?
Right.
Our vacations where I work are all, it's like a bid. It
Right.
comes down to you. We do it at the end of the year for the next year,
Right.
and you take your week. It's all done by seniority,
Mhm.
and it's assigned. You're bidding on that week. That's what you get. So we have assigned vacation,
Right.
and under, I'll go this far. It, they couldn't do that to us.
Well,
So, and that's all I'm going to say.
right. Okay.
I don't want to get it. That's not
Right.
what we're doing tonight.
Right.
So it'll be 20 minutes later, and everybody else will be like, we don't care about that
Right,
stuff.
right.
Um, so I wanted to bring that up. Did you have anything to add there?
No,
I'm kind of
that's
doing all the talking here,
no, no,
and I
no.
don't want to.
No, that's what we're doing. We're putting out information.
Okay, and that's it. We're just trying to get the facts out to everybody.
Yes.
So the next thing that I have, which is it's work Bureau of Workers Compensation is just god awful boring.
Right.
And I think what I will do, we're going to go through these and touch on just a couple of them.
Okay.
They're like the frequently asked questions. And I think what I will do is send these to you,
Okay. And I'll put
and
them in
then
the
you
comments.
can upload them so
Sure.
that they can either click on the link,
Right.
or
I'll
maybe
put it.
you can have it up there so they can view it.
Sure.
But I don't know if a lot of people are affected by the Bureau of Workers Comp. My biggest thing that I've loved out of this whole thing is that the government is always like, we're here to help you. We're your savior, right?
Right.
And did you notice that they passed this rule about all these essential employees, right?
Right.
So probably 80% of us are still working.
Right.
We're out there on the front lines every day.
Right.
And like myself, I'm bringing this back to my home every day.
Right.
I don't know what I brought home. Do you?
No.
Oh, take your temperature.
Right.
Which I do want to bring this up as just small talk. I don't know what's going on, but um, my myself and our kid, our temperatures go up when we get sick normally, right?
Right.
My wife, though, her temperature goes down.
Oh, wow.
And it's ironic because, like older physicians, you tell them, you go into the emergency room or stat care and you get an older doctor, they're
Right.
like, yeah, we get it. But you get a younger doctor, they're like, yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Right.
Trust me, it works that way. However, I have to take my temperature every single day.
Yeah.
Okay. And anytime I walk into Altman West, if I walk into a dialysis center, okay, anything like that, the first thing they do is scan me,
Right.
and my temperature since this has started has not been any higher than 97.9.
Really?
Really.
Hmm.
It's usually somewhere between 97.2 and 97.8.
Right.
And it was so weird because I had to go into a dialysis unit yesterday, and you have to go in, get your mask, get scanned before you can even go any further than the front door. And she took it, and it was 97.8. And she goes, "This stupid thing just doesn't work." I says, "Nope, it's working just fine."
It's working fantastic.
She,
Yes.
and she said, "This is why I'm a little worried now."
Mm-hmm.
She said, "Well, this thing's been registering everybody loaded it." She said, "I thought it was the batteries. So we put new batteries in it, but it's still registering low," which
Mm.
was so ironic because last week we thought our batteries were going bad.
Right.
We
Right. Right.
changed them. It's still in that 97-degree range.
Huh.
And I never have low temp. It's
Hmm.
just really, so if anybody out there watching has heard anything, I would, love to know about that. So,
Sure.
um, again, I don't want to bore everybody with this because Bureau Workers Comp language, it's very humdrum. So the first one says, will the Bureau allow employees to delay installment payments due to COVID's hardship? And it says the Bureau is announcing that insurance premium installment payments due for March, April, and May for the current policy year may be deferred until June 1st, at which time the matter will be reconsidered. This is for both public and private employers. The Bureau will not lapse, cancel, coverage, or penalties for amounts not paid because of the coronavirus pandemic. Installment payments due for the 3-month period will total approximately $200 million.
Hmm.
And keep in mind, this is the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation.
Right.
This is a state thing. Um, and again, it's all about language, But it says it is announcing that the insurance premium installment payments that are due for March, April, and May for the current policy year may be deferred. So if I'm reading that correctly, you may not get it till June,
Right.
but you will get it. And I do want to touch on that too. I listened to the wine talk on Saturday. Actually, it was the lieutenant governor, um, Houston, is that his name?
Yeah.
He said that the $600 the federal government parts come in, the first check or two may not have it, but that it will be retro,
Okay.
so that you will get it. Just keep filing every Sunday, he said.
Right.
um, the next one's interesting. If I contracted COVID, is it a uh, compensatable claim? And basically, this says it's a great big long paragraph. It says it depends on how you contracted it.
Right.
If basically you work in a general work area
Mm-hmm.
and you're not exposed to it any differently than anybody else,
Right.
I want to get the exact wording here. There's a variety of ways of your job. Few jobs have a hazard or risk of getting a disease in any greater degree or in any different manner than a general public.
Right.
So if you're like anybody else, so I guess if you're at Walmart and you're working, that's no different than shopping at Walmart. You're not going to get it. It says, however, if you work in a job that poses a special hazard or a risk and you contract the COVID-19 from the work exposure directly, the Bureau could allow your claim. The only thing that even comes to mind on that is nurses, doctors.
Right.
I mean, they're in what would be considered a high risk. Even me doing my job as opposed to my customers,
Right.
it's no different, right?
Right.
Um, but a nurse, um, they have no idea when you come through that door
Right.
what you got.
Right.
So that is different. Um, and just so you know what's on this form, I will read the questions off. That way, if you're interested, you can look at them at a later time. If I am quarantined due to COVID-19, can I receive workers' compensation wage replacement benefits? Are you making determinations on new claims? The answer to that is yes, but there's more to it. How will my benefits be extended when my doctor's office is closed and they haven't completed my Medco 14? Number 6 is, will my benefits be extended if I am participating in a rehab program? Number 7 is, will my wage loss benefits be discontinued if I'm unable to complete job searches? I'll do that because that's a big one. It says job searches will be suspended until April 30th, 2020, and all forms of wage loss payments, working wage loss / non-working wage loss, living maintenance wage loss, will be continued. So I guess you don't have to report any jobs through April 30th. And I just get the feeling if they extend it to May 30th,
Right.
it's just going to keep, because Trump said this afternoon, this may go on to August.
Right.
And the doctor, um, if we go way back in February, he basically said this is going to go on until there's a vaccine.
Pretty much, yeah.
And he said that's going to be a year
Right.
to 18 months.
Right. And a lot of people are under this sort of assumption that uh, in the summer months it'll go away because the weather's warmer. But that doesn't hold a lot of water, especially with states like Florida and Louisiana right now having a big problem with it.
Right.
I don't think it knows that it's
Well, when you let all the kids out on the beach for a week,
oh my.
that doesn't happen.
You
Or when you let Mardi Gras continue.
I was gonna say you have a coastal petri dish.
Oh yeah, it's the South is just lit up with it. I mean, if you've
Right.
seen that map with all the red hot spots,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just unbelievable. Um, Let me see, and that's my whole issue with New York. It's New York's a war zone.
Mm-hmm.
I did want to bring this up though. I saw a picture of these three nurses in trash bags the other day.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, there was a story through the union that said that this whole issue of um, not enough masks, not enough gowns, not enough gloves. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There are PPE issues.
Right.
New York nurses have already been hollering about this for over a year.
Oh yeah.
And that picture was snapped at a protest.
Oh.
That's not a recent. Now,
Hmm.
there are recent people
Sure.
putting on trash bags.
Right.
But that picture that was floated out there, it's three female nurses,
Right.
that was actually at a protest.
Hmm. It,
So
it's it,
I
it's
find
like,
that interesting.
yeah, it's like the one picture that was I can't remember which one of the legacy media had this picture or video clip, and they were saying it was New York, but it was actually Italy.
I
And
saw
yeah,
yes.
that
It's actually a clip from Sky News.
right.
I saw that. And when they reran it under CBS ran it,
Okay.
they took the Sky News part off.
Right.
And matter of fact, when they show the video, they have these little arrows that come in like,
Right.
notice this nurse, notice that
Right.
doctor. They were doing the
Right.
same thing. I
Yeah.
saw that. And it's a shame.
It is.
It really, if that is really truly going on,
Yes.
that's just a shame. It really
Well,
is.
in sort of a side note, it's one of the reasons I kind of let my show take this direction was I got so tired of legacy media just twisting and contorting everything. When I first heard about this at the end of December, the beginning of January, me and a couple other guys that do live broadcasts, we were talking. We were like, once they get over the whole Orange Man's bad thing, and they get a hold of this story, they're gonna take it and just and run with it. And sure enough, you know, about February, everybody's like, "Oh, wait a second. This is a an actual topic that people will click on."
Mhm.
And at the beginning, um, it was sort of clickbaity, and then once people realized that China's sort of cooking the books, for lack of better words, like I said, it'll probably be decades before we find out what the total effect this had on China.
Well, and now the new talk coming out with this is, when did it actually arrive here?
Yes.
Now, we didn't know about it from China until November. Now, there's a whole thing out there. Do you trust them? Do you not trust them?
Right.
If you don't trust them, are you racist? Yada da 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 da.
Right.
Listen, this is how I break it down. They're communists. Okay. I remember watching CNN, Tiananmen Square.
Yeah.
I watched this country drive their tanks over college protesting students.
Right.
Okay. I don't trust anything you have to say.
Well, when you have a government that basically shuts down your internet so people on the
Right.
outside don't see what's going on the inside, it's tough to trust that. You can't.
Right. And that very first doctor who broke that,
Yeah.
um, I really think had that not gotten out and been circulated on mainstream media,
Mhm.
I think he would have just disappeared. Now
Yeah,
the
that's
sad part is
true.
he did die anyways,
Yes.
but I just think he would have disappeared a lot quicker. And
Right.
I hate to say that about any one country, but they're communists. They're not. They haven't changed anything.
Well,
They still have control of everything.
right. They have a
Um,
totalitarian mindset.
right. So when you tell me, oh, you have this thing that got out in November, it's probably already been out.
Right.
Okay. And why this is so suspicious to me is because my daughter got sick in September.
Okay.
She has never, in 17 years, been to the doctor, three times in 1 month
Hmm.
for this lung congestion thing. And what was she told? You just got a virus. They took pictures the second and third visit to make sure it wasn't pneumonia.
Right.
Okay, and they nope, you just got a virus. Keep drinking lots of water, drink some Gatorade, so you don't lose your electrolytes, stuff like that. And it just went on, and it went into October.
You're
Well,
right.
by the time we get to the end of September, now my wife's sick. Same thing. You have this cough, constant cough.
Right.
You have labored breathing, stuff like that. And this goes from September into October. She's told the same thing. Matter of fact, my daughter's third appointment, my wife's first appointment,
Oh wow.
we're together.
Wow. Wow.
Told the exact same thing. You just got a virus. Keep drinking plenty of fluids, right?
Right.
By it's not even the second week. I think it was by October 10th. I'm sick.
Hmm.
Okay. But I just keep plowing through because I'm the workhorse.
Right. Right.
I just keep going. And I was at work, and I just couldn't catch my breath. I had a really, it was, the cough was totally unproductive.
Right.
You just this dry, and it wouldn't stop. And I
Right.
told my wife, I said, I'm just going to go out to Stat Care because by the time I get off and by the time I get there, they're almost going to be closed. So I got to go. I was actually the last person they saw that night.
Wow.
When I got there was three other people in front of me. I think they closed at 7 o'clock that night. And they had to actually close the place, but they got to process everybody. I thought three people. I thought it'd be pretty quick, but anyways, so I get in there, but with mine, I had this fever,
Hmm.
and I would take some Motrin Tylenol combo. That's usually my go-to thing, and the fever would come down. And then what happened that particular day was I didn't take any medication with me to work. So by the time I got off work, I was burning up again. So I go in there, and he starts telling me the same thing. You got a virus, drink plenty of
Right.
water.
Right. Right.
He says, and I liked him. He was an older doctor. He goes, I recommend some chicken noodle soup and some Gatorade. Same thing they told my daughter. And but my fever when I was there was like 102 something. And we just happened to go back to this. And I told him, I said, excuse me, my fever has been as high as 104. And I told him about that. I take the medicine, the fever goes down, but the fever won't stay away.
Right.
And thank God we had that little 30-second conversation right there near the end, because he said, well, that sounds like pneumonia. He says, we're going to get a picture. And they went over, took a picture, and I do love modern day technology. And 2 minutes later, we know. And I had what was stage 2 walking pneumonia. And he said, you are one step from the hospital. So I was really interested in these steps. I said,
Right.
what do you mean I'm one step? So I just want to clarify this. Well, I guess your lung has 6 lobes.
Okay.
So if you have 2 lobes infected, so one lobe is walking pneumonia. The second one is either step 2 or severe walking pneumonia. Okay. And then once you get to 3 or more lobes,
Okay.
you have got to go into the hospital because you can die from it. They got to get IVs going into you.
Okay.
Well, what did he give me? A Z-Pack. What's treating this now? Okay. Now, it was really interesting because I didn't get it. It's a 6-pill 5-day. So you take the 2 on the first day and then one pill each day.
Right.
And I called on the fifth day and I said, because he wanted to know how I was, to call back, let me know how you're doing. I said I didn't feel any relief, which is odd because a Z pack, I usually take a Z pack. I feel great the next day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I didn't feel any relief till the fourth day. And I said, I'm taking my last pill today. So that's what I told the nurse. They called me back a couple hours later, said he called in. Um, and I'm going to forget the name of it now. Anyways, it's 875 milligrams. It's a very strong antibiotic. And he wanted me to continue that for 10 more days.
Yeah.
And then it just, I felt better and everything went away. But now we're wondering, because see, we know November. And why I told this whole story was because what you said was they said in summer it's going to go down.
Right.
So this is actually my third thing on Facebook tonight. So the first thing I had tonight with the AFL-CIO, and what they were discussing in that is what's happening is 80% of the people aren't even going to know that they have it.
Right.
Okay, it won't even ever be reported. It's the most they might have is like a cold.
Right.
And what they're planning on by summer, and I have not heard this anywhere in the news. So I know we like to talk in fact here.
Right.
Um, I'm just going to put it out there because this is what I was told. These international reps, they're down there in DC. They hear this kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but this is what we were told. So more and more people are building immunity every day.
Right.
Okay. And if you look at that one national website, it's got, because, I just need one more tab.
Right.
Which page was that on about how many? There was like 151,000, already cured people.
Right.
Well, the good thing is that number is going to go up and up and up and up and up.
Right.
And
It's 177,141.
so by the time you get to summer,
Right.
okay, you're going to have more and more people immune to it.
Sure.
Plus, when you get outside, they want you outside. If you listen to the governor, he says, go for a walk.
Right.
He just doesn't want 50 people in the park together. And unfortunately, the younger generation is oblivious to this because it's not. Well, I think they've actually been sold a bad bag of goods because the media has made this sound like if you're young, like if you're my daughter's age,
Right.
like you ain't even gonna know you get it. That's not true.
Right.
You will recover,
Right.
but you may end up in the hospital on a respirator.
Sure.
And in the near future, because this is supposed to take, this is supposed to be our highest point coming up here the next couple weeks, according to Dr. Acton. Okay, may not be a respirator for you.
Right.
So don't think you can't die. They have had one person under the age of 1 who died already.
Yep. True story.
So you don't have to be old to die with this. So don't, if you're a young person watching this, don't take it for granted. You could still end up in a hospital and on respirators and everything else. But having said that, what they were talking about was a lot of people are going to build up some immunity. Now, in all fairness, Dr. Trump's doctor, he said that all they can go off now are the previous flus. Some of the flus, you get a 3-month immunity, a 6-month immunity, a year immunity. That's kind of where our vaccines come in. And there are certain things out there in the world, like chickenpox. You can build a lifetime immunity to some of these things. But typically, flu strains, and I know people don't like me to use that terminology, but that's what was originally used out there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to discount corona. It is not a flu in the general sense.
Right.
But it falls under that.
Sure.
scientific tree. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yep.
The family, the phylum, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Um, the problem that we have with this is there's no vaccine for it.
Sure.
But what he was saying, the doctor, was that we're going to be start to build these immunities, okay? But that they don't have any idea how long your immunity will be.
Sure.
And there's already been a story where somebody had it and got over it, and they've got it back again.
Sure.
So, and again, it also depends on, like chickenpox. Like, I had a really bad case of it, and I've never had another case. But my cousin got a light case of it, and then a couple years later got it again.
Right.
So maybe you have to get a severe case to really build immunity.
Sure.
They don't know this stuff. Keeping
Hmm.
with, that we want the facts out there. So the one thing other I wanted to touch on, you talked about how Italy and Spain, France, Germany, and all that.
Yeah.
I was reading a subject or a paper. They were talking about why Italy was like the hardest hit. They have one of the oldest populations in the world.
Yep.
The other thing is Italy's really like a tight knit community. I think they said like the average person lives within like just over a mile from the house they were born in,
Sure.
and they spend a lot of time with their elderly.
Yes.
So you have the young people intermingling with the old,
Yeah.
and then of course this has a lot to do with compromised immune systems, and this just floored me. 1 in 4 Italians smoke.
Yes.
So if you smoke, have high blood pressure, have diabetes, have anything that scarred your lungs, asthma, pneumonia, any of that kind of stuff, you've been compromised.
Right.
So you need to take extra precaution for that kind of stuff. Um,
And I think too that's what we're going to end up seeing here in the United States. Let's face it, if you're middle aged or I can't speak, or older here in the United States, you either drink too much, smoke too much, or you're overweight. And that's a really bad combination as far as this thing goes. And I think the potential is there if people don't take the right precaution that you might see weird because well they're already where was it a preacher in Florida? He had a gathering
right.
and you know what people don't understand is right now there is no suspension of the Constitution.
Thank you.
So you do still have the right to assemble,
That's
and
right.
you still have the right to practice all of your freedoms, and and that's where things just trying to look ahead may go sideways. If you see areas getting worse, and you have certain type of leaders that want to try and carry that big stick, people push
Mm-hmm.
back, then things go really goofy.
Well, see,
So,
and this has been my argument on Facebook the last couple days, and I mean to tell you, it's a button. I pushed people's buttons, and they want to come out and just say, in short, just use your common sense. You should be staying in, yada da da da. Well, that's true. I have common sense.
right.
I agree. Matter of fact, if we go back 4 weeks ago, I was the first person in my church to say, and it was because I was helping with our um, and it just totally went out of my mind. I'm sorry.
It gets better with age.
Well, I'm sitting here and I'm watching the drop downs on my phone,
Right.
and my mind kind of went somewhere else. So, um, anyways, the kids coming into church this year, I was helping out with that program and confirmation, and we only had 2 classes left, and DeWine was already out there about, I think at that time it was 50 people. Well, um, the church that I grew up in, it has become like a sea of white hair.
Right.
And everybody over 60 and those over 80 are greatly um, at risk. Well, we have a lot of people in our church who's over 80 years old.
Sure.
And I told Pastor, I said, listen, I work with the public. And I really hate to do this, but, I have to, the wine said you have to use your own judgment. If you don't feel good or, if you've been around a lot of people, maybe you shouldn't go. I am around a lot of people every day.
Right.
I have no idea what I'm subjugated to. Okay. So I just told him, I says, I hate to do this to you, but I'm not coming because I don't think it's right. So I want to get that out there. It's not that I disagree with the not going part. Like DeWine said, we have all this technology. You
Sure.
got Facebook and TV and radio, and there's all of these different ways to communicate. There's even one pastor online who he actually has a real church, but he's got a lot of land, so he decided to do drive-in church.
Check him
So
out.
you drive in your car, you
Mm-hmm.
don't get out of your car, you turn the radio on, and you know, but he's also broadcasting it over Facebook
Sure.
and the like. Okay,
Right.
it has nothing to do with it. It has to do with your constitutional right.
Mm-hmm.
And Article 1 says that you shall make no law in
Mm-hmm.
regards to religion or the gathering thereof.
Right.
You shall make no law,
Right.
is what it says.
Right.
So, them arresting that pastor is illegal.
Right.
And they're going to be sued and they're going to lose because that one will go to the Supreme Court. Okay? Now, whether you think the pastor is correct or not,
Yeah.
okay, that's irrelevant. It's what the Constitution says. And I think what we're lacking in constitutional law is it is our responsibility to make sure the Constitution is upheld.
Sure.
It is you and I who's responsible to call that out. Make that known. That's like when our mayor said that she was going to send cops to businesses.
Right.
Okay. And you, as a business, you had to prove to them why you were an essential business. Oh, I blew up. No, that's not how our legal system works.
Right.
Okay. That would be like me just coming to you and saying, well, I think you murdered somebody. Prove to me that you didn't.
Right.
No, that's not your. Our court system, our legal system, does not work on me. It doesn't require me to prove my innocence.
Right. The burden of
It
proof isn't on you.
requires you,
Right.
the prosecutor, to prove in the court of law that I'm guilty. And I mean to tell you, this blew up on my page. And amazingly, I haven't heard no more about cops going around to businesses. I don't know if they still are or not. So if anybody's watching and you know about that, let us know. But they should not be approaching any business saying, prove to me that you're an essential business.
Right.
That's not how our legal system works.
We hope not.
That's just.
You hope not.
Then you got California's case. I know we're kind of getting off COVID here, but they closed all the gun shops.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, Article 2 clearly tells us that the right to weaponry, to bear arms, shall not be infringed upon.
Right.
So the NRA sued the very next day. That I guarantee you they will lose that case. But see, this is what kills me. That may take 3-4 months to process, right? And then all the governor will say is, well, okay, well, open up your gun store. And it's like nothing happens to these people.
Right.
Now Florida might be a little bit different because you got a mega church preacher who I'm
Right.
sure he's got some powerful lawyers. He'll probably just get money from the state.
Right.
That's probably what'll come out of that.
Right.
Um, but it's us. That Constitution is ours,
Right.
and if we don't defend it,
Right.
heaven knows the politicians aren't going to defend it.
Right.
And I know we're off subject on
Right.
that.
I think we've been up for an hour and 17 minutes.
Hey, and we haven't broke stream,
And no, we haven't, and
right?
it's come through pretty good. I
Okay.
think I'm gonna make a suggestion here, in lieu of time. I think we should do this every Tuesday, if you can
Do
do
you?
that. Huh?
Well, what subject would you like to do next week?
I don't know. We'll come up with something between now and then. Maybe a
Maybe get
continuation of
some
this one.
suggestions from the people watching.
Well, you know what? We got a topic here. It says, uh, Jim Havistow said they did not make it a law. It is a health crisis that puts others at risk. There is the conundrum. You have rights, but they do not supersede endangering another. And I'm gonna disagree with that a little bit. Well, actually, a lot. My personal rights, if I choose to go to a church and you
Right.
choose to go to a church, those are two people exercising an individual right.
You're free right.
The potential is there that you could get in a car wreck.
Right.
So you can't um, the the chance of getting hurt is there regardless of the coronavirus or not.
Well, and what I'll compare this to, you have Ohio law
Right?
and you have what's called Ohio ordinances.
Yep.
Okay. But the ordinances cannot go against the law, and the law cannot go against the Constitution.
Right.
It's just how they can, an ordinance, they can just whip that up out of their butt. It's like, psh, like Maslin, all right, new ordinance.
Right. Well,
All in
hold,
favor. Aye, it's passed.
real quick. We're going to come back to that, Jim. But and you're right. You have the right to swing your fist, but if it hits another person, then obviously it's an assault. But you can't. I mean, if someone doesn't know they're sick, how do they know whether or not they're endangering someone? Unless you take away their right and say they can't interact at all. And that doesn't make sense either because we're individuals. We can't.
Well, and that can be done. See, there's a provision for that, and that's called martial law.
Right.
Okay, the president can declare it, and a governor can declare it for his state. Okay, but you better grow a pair and declare it if you don't want me to call you out on it.
Right.
I mean, that's just
We
the way I am with that.
we have another comment. Gary says the burden of endangering others is on each individual. They all should have been arrested. No one in that church was sick. Um, I don't know. You know what? We're gonna run out of time.
Okay.
The two gentlemen in the chat. I hope you come back Tuesday because I think between now and next Tuesday you will see more of this, and I think just the constitutionality would probably make for a decent at least 45-minute to an hour conversation. Is that something you'd be willing to do
Next Tuesday?
next Tuesday?
I'm usually pretty good on Tuesdays.
Okay.
Um,
Is there a better day? Is there a best day? Let
no,
me ask it that way.
I was just trying to find it real quick because, um, it's very simple language. It does not require any interpretation. Um,
You know what? I got an idea.
I know we're going to run out, and I'm just trying to scan this very, very quickly here. And of course, nothing on the internet's ever easy to find when you want to find it quick.
Well,
Well, there was a magic word that I was looking for. Um, You think you just go to the archives and just
Of course
pull it
not.
right up, wouldn't you?
Of course,
But
that
no, of
that would make
course
sense.
not.
But here, let me run this by you and the guys in the two gentlemen in the chat room. Actually, there's three, but the two that are back and forth. Um, I do believe I have enough bandwidth that we could do something in Google Hangouts and have all four of us on the same show.
Hey, there you go.
Would you be privy to that, Gary and Jim? If we could open up that discussion next Tuesday. Gary's up for it. Or unless he's talking about the hot dogs that Jim's talking
Oh
about.
my goodness.
I don't. You can't see the chat, can you?
I can't.
Oh,
No.
geez, it's it's interesting.
Are you able to get that up on the screen?
Um, no, but if you turned the volume down on your PC and you went to the O'Malley's page, you would be able to see the chat and interact with it. I forgot you're sitting in front of a PC.
I am. Well,
Um,
turn my volume down.
yes.
Okay. Groups.
Yeah, Jim says he's not sitting by Gary. Uh, no, I think it would be, especially some of the constitutional issues that I can kind of foresee um, becoming more to the forefront. Um, I don't know, but that's just me. I tend to be wired that way a little bit. Um, do you have the page up? It's the
I'm
YouTube
just
channel.
now getting. I'm just now getting to my groups.
Oh no, no, it's on the YouTube channel.
Oh, the YouTube channel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. How do I
Actually,
get
if
to it?
if you go to your Facebook page, I put it on your timeline. You should just be able to click on it, and it should take you
Oh,
straight there.
hold on. Okay, I see it now.
Yeah, you want to look your best, Jim. I mean, you do. Yeah, I shaved this evening. I had the 2 or 3 day growth gone. It's interesting. I started to, while I'm doing the stream for the church and some projects on the side, I sit more right here and realized why I don't have a desk job. I drink way too much coffee. I'm not meant to be at a desk, and like I'm sure that by the end of this week, my lovely new spouse will be ready for me to go back to work. There's no doubt in my mind.
My only thing is this started like at the very beginning, but I don't see anything.
Well, about halfway through, you'll see the chat coming through on the right hand. It's not shown. It didn't.
Okay, I see that now.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay,
Um,
I was looking under it.
okay. So now that
So
we've
next Tuesday.
next Tuesday, we're gonna shoot for Tuesday at uh,
Eight-
at 8 o'clock, and we'll instead of using Skype, we'll use Google Hangouts.
Okay.
It's a much simpler process. Um, like I said, I'm pretty sure we got enough bandwidth here. We can put it together and shove it out. And you know what? What was the name of the game show where all the people sat in the squares? Hollywood Squares or
Hollywood
something like?
Squares.
Yeah, we're gonna have four squares up on the screen, and um, I'm gonna separate Jim and Gary because it,
They don't want to sit together,
well,
right?
apparently Gary's worried about getting sit on. That's actually you're going to end up seeing that in the comments. It's what it says.
Really? Well, you make sure you put me on top of his picture.
Okay, we can do that. Anyway, Matt, yeah, Maslin Squares. Anyway, gentlemen, I'm gonna I'm gonna end the stream. Lee, hang tight for a second. I want to talk to you real quick, and I'll be back tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock for another episode, and it would just be myself. So, anyway, If you like these videos, hit that thumbs up. If you don't like the videos, hit the thumbs down. Let me know why. I would love to hear your thoughts. And if you really like these videos, hit the subscribe button along with the bell. That way YouTube knows to notify you that new content is up on the channel. Until next time, stay sharp, keep a tight shot, group, and rock on. Peace.
Are we clear?